the pops north and south of the central active regions. The first eruption is mostly heading north from the sun, but the second appears to be more of an equatorial ejection, another small filament. While SOHO isn't fully updated, or stereo for that matter, the stereo data with Earth off to the right still does manage to show both eruptions. The first clearly is headed north, but the swirling plasma you see at the end near the equatorial line, heading at Earth, that's indeed the plasma from the second eruption, the one we saw in the south. Impact of the small filament is expected sometime on Sunday night. Right now, the solar wind is pretty calm. You can see the CME impact and the descent back towards normal here on all the telemetry for the plasma stream and geomagnetism. Folks, we are clearly in an earthquake uptick. Add the two from previous shows from the Indian Ocean and Panama to these two from Japan and Indonesia, and that's 4 magnitude 6 quakes in 2 days. That's above the average weekly production for our planet. A quick word on how vulnerable systems are to solar flare effects. In addition to the danger of overcharging from particle hits, the physics of synchronic windings in some machines make them more vulnerable to the negative effects of induced current. FYI, none of the thousands of studies on technology and solar storms has ever concluded they're not at risk. It's just nice to see them progressing. Mentioning this again, the Black Brant 12 rocket launch from Virginia is now scheduled for no earlier than tomorrow evening. Read about it at their Twitter page. Get out and see the show if you can. Folks, the April climate report is out, and this one is where they approximate the color category. It's pretty red looking, isn't it? It's why they always show this one. When you use actual numbers, the maps look like this. This has been every month for over a decade. They show the world the red and white, and I'm sure they just forget to show the blue. Nothing nefarious or anything. Anyway, since I'm slapping right now, another dark matter search. And they found it. Just kidding. The field is O for forever once again. Veteran observers may recall this one from a few years ago, the modeling of the inside of a star. Well, UCSB is at it again today with a smaller model, from 80 solar masses here down to a handful, and they are finding a major surprise. The categorization of internal mixing they commonly use based on stellar mass and age is utterly useless in this realm. There is no dependence at all, and what they don't tell you is how much of astrophysics just whip their heads back around to their own work and realize they've been working with a bit of fantasy for a while. Last but not least, as expected with such a long study, some of the disasters show up, the cyclical catastrophes. But more importantly, they say that this location has been cooling for 2,000 years, that it was warm, wet, and heavily forested during the last glacial maximum, almost like it wasn't at its current latitude or something. Younger Dryas, the very last disaster accompanying the Gothenburg magnetic excursion about 12,000 years ago, is the one that, unsurprisingly, shows up the best. As was the case with Lake Mungo 12,000 years before that, Mono Lake a cycle earlier, and Le Champ before that, we're heading into that excursion again. However, so are the other planets and the nearby stars, and when we come around from the other side, the galactic astrophysics demands it be so. The special video I had planned a few days ago when the sun stepped in to say its piece instead, I'm working as fast as I can.